Alright, in Mendham, this video that I'm responding to, and I'll agree with you on this. Beliefs. Beliefs of all kinds, all shapes and sizes, all forms, all types of beliefs need to go. Beliefs are not something that we can factually support anymore, and they're destructive, they are selfish, and they need to go. That being said, though, I think where we're going to disagree is on what the nature of a belief is. Because I think saying that there is a God and that this God has specific characteristics and specific rules and laws and so on and so forth that we have to live by if we're going to be good, that's just as much a belief system as saying that physics is all that there is, physical law. That's, you know, because I think what you mean by that is basically some kind of a scientific materialism, a positivism, and that is just as dangerous as you know, an outdated theism and a literal belief in biblical scripture and whatnot. Because the problem is when you get rid of God. You're right about a lot of atheists. They think that means I only look out for myself, and my ego becomes the new God, basically. And that's also dangerous, because now one only believes in themselves, and that sort of stifles cooperation and that sense of the greater good. And so you get rid of God, and morality seems to disappear. And then if you make physics God, you know, metaphorically speaking, the idea of there being any reason to be compassionate or loving or kind or to cooperate with others, it sort of goes out the window too, because the idea of physics being God also puts the human subject or the human ego in the position of God, and then we can do pretty much whatever we want because there are no consequences. Myself, I'm the only one who can hold myself accountable, and that's just as dangerous. So we can't believe in God as a fixed idea. We can't believe in physics as a fixed idea. Now, actual physical science, you know, quantum physics, relativity, these things are great, but they're theories. They're not facts in the sense that there's a set of laws that we have to abide by. You know, the new physics, the most up-to-date physics, isn't based on law. It's based on probability. And it's also a pretty mystical science, if those words can go together. And by mystical, I mean it's counterintuitive. It's a very curious thing that happens at the quantum level and at the macroscopic level when we're talking about relativity. At the quantum level, we're no longer dealing with we're no longer dealing with extremely predictable laws. It's not like clockwork. It's not a bunch of particles or billiard balls banging into each other in a perfectly predictable way. It's probabilistic. There's certain patterns that tend to play out. So it's based on habit, not law. Habits can be changed. We can learn to alter so-called law through conscious intention, because all we have to do is form new habits, and we can do that with our own minds, and we can do that with the matter of the universe. We can make matter do things using various, you know, technological methods that it would never have done on its own. So we are, in a sense, matter become conscious of itself. And you know, I've heard you say lots of times that human intelligence is this fluke that just magically, or maybe not magically, but accidentally appeared on Earth, and that it's very rare that this could ever happen, and that, you know, we should be thankful that we're here, and we should fight to do, you know, whatever we can to protect intelligence from the chaos of nature. You know, but I don't see it that way. I think that our intelligence is a function of nature, because nature is not chaotic. Human intelligence, on the other hand, you know, that's what wages war. That's what has designed this corrupt, destructive economy and this destructive technology. So, you know, I've said this before, rationality on its own, without a heart, you know, the mind without a heart to back it up, is dangerous, because the mind wants knowledge for its own sake, and the mind is curious for curiosity's sake, just to see what it can do. And that, unfortunately, I find very dangerous. You know, you mentioned that God is an invention, and all these religious ideas, these spiritual ideas, are inventions, but so is physics. It's an invention. It's basically a technology for measuring the world. Certainly in an accurate way, but it's still an invention. It wasn't here. You know, there aren't particles out there waiting for us to find. No, our measuring devices invent particles, because the measurement itself is the creation of that entity called an atom or a particle. You know, when we change the measuring device, all of a sudden particles become waves. So, you know, who's to say what it really is? We don't know. We're inventing it, and those inventions allow us to manipulate the material world and to make it do what we want, in a sense. But it's not that that's the truth somehow. You know, it's just as much an invention as anything else. So, you know, yeah, basically, I'm all for the idea that beliefs need to be tossed out, but we have to be very thorough with that cleanup of getting rid of beliefs, because there's beliefs in science, at least in science as it is practiced and understood by normal people. There's all kinds of beliefs. You know, pure science has nothing to do with belief. I'll give you that. But neither does pure religion, which pure religion means spirituality, which is based on experience, just like science. There's no belief in a God that's actually legitimate, in my view. You don't believe in God, you experience God. And, you know, that's the essential thing. That's why meditation is important, because when you meditate, you're training your mind. You know, it's not some mumbo jumbo. It's a legitimate technique, a technology for training your consciousness to better, more all-encompassingly interpret and understand and experience the world as it is, not as you invent it and want it to be, but just as it is. And, you know, to laugh at that kind of technology, spiritual technology, because that's basically what meditation is. You know, it's not a machine that you strap onto yourself. No, it's your own mind, your own thought process that you learn to control. And not control as though you were outside and separate from it. Control more in the sense of skillfully surf the waves. Like when you go surfing, you don't control the waves. You wait for one to come, and then you get up on your board and you ride it to shore. So you're sort of in a relationship. You know, it's like sailing. You can't go against the wind. You tack with the wind, and you can skillfully manipulate the sail in such a way that you can go whatever direction you want to go. So, you know, I think we're making progress here. We're starting to understand each other a little bit better. So, yeah, let's see where it goes. Thanks for listening.